All right, I hear back and cool. We in here, back in the place to be. Upstairs again, obviously, in the bathroom. Whew. The reason I'm in here is just because the lighting is better here, and I have a place to prop my phone. And currently, my wife is downstairs, so she's making some food. So I'm up here. I usually don't make videos in here, but let's be real, I'll make them wherever I need to. So in the previous video, we just talked about setting the goals for your nutrition so that you know what you want your nutrition to do for you, right? So you kind of have a direction on who to follow so you're not swayed by every voice that comes along and says, try this, try that, try this, try that. Today, I want to talk to you guys about understanding your dieting strategy, right? Understanding what it is. So, we've seen the last few years keto take off. Typical keto diet originally is supposed to be like 70% fat, 30% protein, or no, 70% fat. Carbohydrates, I believe, are like between 30 60 grams a day, and then the rest is protein. So it's like 20% protein or a little bit more. Now, the problem with this is that people didn't understand the ketogenic diet, right? So the ketogenic diet is not low carb. It's pretty much minimum carbohydrates, just enough for your brain to function. That's pretty much it, because your brain does need like 30 60 grams of glucose, which is sugar, a form of sugar, a day to operate. The rest of that, you really don't need it. If your body needs some, it can convert it, which is the problem, because people were going too high in their protein, so they weren't realizing that they weren't in ketosis, especially if they didn't check, because their body will convert the excess protein into carbohydrates and the glucose and would throw them out of ketosis, or they would do something stupid like say, it takes like typically 2 or 3 days to get into ketosis. They'll get to day 3 and say, you know what, I'm just going to have a cheat meal, or I'm going to just have, a cake here or something. Completely ruin the process. What happens then when you are on a ketogenic diet, the point of going into ketosis is really so your body switches energy systems, right? So typically, your body's going to be burning primarily carbohydrates, stored glycogen, all that kind of stuff for energy. When you're in ketosis, it takes your fat, uses it to create ketone bodies, which there are various types. And obviously, this is an oversimplification because this video is is not meant to go that far into details. But the thing is, your body does not prefer that method of energy, right? It prefers to use carbohydrates. So as soon as you introduce too many carbohydrates, then you get knocked out of ketosis. So people were trying to do the diet, not understanding that ketosis is a state, not a fancy low carbohydrate style. You're literally switching from glucose to ketone bodies. And then to make it worse, people were going and buying products that were designed to put them into ketosis sooner. And I had a conversation with someone, and they didn't get it at all. I was like, they were buying like these I forgot what it was, but it's like a product. They're exogenous ketones that you take. And I was trying to explain to her that if you take exogenous ketones, your body's not going to make ketones for energy. It's going to use the exogenous ketones that you put in there. The problem with this is, and where it kind of got hung up, was that when you test on a keto strip or whatever, it says you're in ketosis because you're taking exogenous ketones, and then when you go pee on a keto stick or whatever, it shows up that you're in ketosis, but you're not. You're taking in exogenous ketones. Now, this is just an example. It's a recent example, and a lot of people really thought that pretty much what they did was turn the ketogenic diet into more of a low carbohydrate diet, which the Atkins diet is kind of a modified ketogenic diet, to be honest, but that's beyond the scope of this. It's not really low carb, it's like a modified ketogenic diet. The difference between ketosis, being in ketosis and low carbs is when you're on low carbohydrates, you're still going to be burning carbohydrates as your preferred energy source. You won't be in ketosis. That's why it's important to understand the dieting strategy that you're on. So whatever you decide to do, you need to understand it so that you don't sabotage yourself, because people were not getting the energy that they were supposed to get because they really weren't in ketosis. People were trying to test but didn't realize that they were skewing the test. And this is just one example. There's always some kind of diet out there. And again, knowing the goals of your diet, because people who are trying to utilize the ketogenic diet, even when you see this in certain sports that weight loss is important, they're not trying to be at peak performance when they're in ketosis. You're not really going to be in peak performance in most sports. Now, some people find in running, they don't hit that wall because since your body's using body fat to generate these ketone bodies, and there's way more fat on your body than glucose, muscle glycogen, that they don't hit that wall when they're running, when they're doing endurance running. But if you're sprinting or if you're doing some kind of weightlifting or something like that, if you're trying to build muscle, the ketogenic diet is not the most efficient way to do that. And I mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to mention it here. I'm going to mention it in a future video, that people are hung up on this idea of a cheat day or cheat meal. After the first week, they're like, where's my cheat day? Where's my cheat meal? If you're 75, 100 pounds overweight or more, and not from your goal weight, like if you're 300 pounds and your goal weight for some reason is 250 and you're like 5'1", unless you're just like a complete, utter ball of muscle, nah, you're still overweight. I mean, the weight that your body's supposed to actually be at, which is an estimate, give or take, but it's not going to be no 250, 200 if you're 5'1". All right? It's not. But, I mean, like, just, you know, because since we have a obesity epidemic, most people see an overweight person or an obese person and they think, oh, well, they just look normal, or they're just a little chubby. They don't recognize it that it's actually obesity anymore. So even me saying obese, you're like, no, I know what an obese person, you're probably thinking of somebody who's like overly obese or already morbidly obese, to be honest. That's usually the people that we now think about as being obese. So if you look in the mirror, you're like, dag, I'm fat, dag, I'm obese, then you're probably around 100 pounds or more overweight already. You don't need a cheat day. What you need to do is stick to the program and just worry about making incremental steps forward, building the habits to stay on track, and building a diet that you can adhere to. Don't worry about cheat days. You don't need a cheat day. People just want cheat days because they want a day just to pig out. The problem is, if you have a cheat day too soon, like you're probably gonna be months away from an actual, like, let's schedule a cheat day or something, all right, relax this day. You're probably months away from that. Because if you just give somebody who just started or it's too soon a cheat day, people will have a habit of going off the rails and setting themselves back several weeks. And then, depending on the foods that they use, if they use foods that are trigger foods for them, what can end up happening is that they set themselves up for days of binging. And then they get frustrated, their willpower breaks, completely ruin the diet. Or by the time they come to, they may be back or surpass the weight that they were already at. So lay off the cheat days. Don't worry about it. If you're working with somebody, a coach or whatever, they'll know. If you have special events already, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays are coming up, then you already know that those are natural cheat days in a year. And there's a video also that is going to be on the channel. I'll probably share it a little bit after this if you saw this as one of my Facebook shares about how food and culture are interrelated. And yeah, those are already coming. So don't even worry about cheating, because your birthday's going to come and all those other events, you're going to cheat anyways. Stay the course. And again, understand the strategy you're on. If you have a coach, somebody helping you out, ask them. And also, again, know your goals so they can help you reach your goals. And most people who have been doing it long enough, if they don't have a specific enough of a skill set, or if there's someone better for you than them, they'll be able to refer you. Like, come on, even I can refer you to a few different people depending on what your needs are. That's training, that's nutrition. If I can't do it, I know somebody that can. And if they don't, well, hey, how you want to act?